So a young lady said, hey, Jerron, I need business advice. I got my LLC, EIN. I opened up a checking account with Bank of America. I created a Dun & Bradstreet profile. What's next? What's the best way to go about building business credit? So when you start talking about real business credit, you want to start with your personal profile. Now, you can go without a personal guarantor, but if you go without a personal guarantor, your business is going to have to be super strong. For those of you guys who don't know, a personal guarantor just means that you personally have to put your name on the line and your actual social security number, your credit report on the line in order for you to get approved. And so go through an example for you. David comes in and David says, hey, I want to borrow $25,000. Well, if he's going on as a PG, or as we would say, a personal guarantor, then David has to put up his social security number and he has to be credit worthy enough. He has to be credit worthy enough to qualify for this $25,000. This is what it means to be a PG, a personal guarantor. Now, my thing with personal guarantors is a lot of times people will say, oh, I don't want to put my credit up. My question is why? I'll never stop saying this. Why don't you want to put your personal credit up? Because you want to take the bank's money and never pay them back again? Because you think that the government is just giving out free money? Yes, there are aspects and concepts where you can go and get quote unquote free money through grants. But if you're talking about the bank's money, the bank is in business to do business. They're in business to profit. And so if you're talking about going and getting that type of money and they require a personal guarantor, then give them a personal guarantor, right? I teach everybody to have great personal credit etiquette and business credit etiquette. If somebody gives you something, pay them back, right? If somebody gives you something, pay them their money back. And so that right there is the concept of the personal guarantor. If you want to build out business credit fast early. Now, there's another concept called non-PG funding. And non-PG funding just means that, hey, I'm a non-PG, which means that when it came to my social security number, I did not have to put that up. When it came to, my date of birth and all of these, I did not have to get my actual credit ran, right? So we cancel those things out. Well, Jerron, if I don't have to put that up, then what are they looking for? They begin truly evaluating the strength of the business. That is what they're evaluating. And so if you're somebody that has not built a business, then they have nothing to evaluate. But if you're somebody that has built a business, you have profit and loss statements, you have a balance sheet, you have payroll, you have business credit profile, a business credit profile that they've already reviewed. You're now in a situation where going non-PG makes sense, right? That is the goal. Everybody wants to go non-PG, but you have to build yourself up to that place. I always ask people and always encourage people to think like an underwriter. If somebody came to you and asked you for $120,000 and they just started yesterday, would you give them money? Absolutely not. I don't know who you are. I don't know your character. I don't know what your payment history is like. I don't trust you, right? Imagine how much more. America already bankrupt. Imagine how much more America would be bankrupt if banks were just giving out $150,000 to anybody that came up there and said, hey, I got an LLC. Can you give me $150,000? I have an LLC, please. Can you give me? The country will be trash. The economy is already, completely dismantled. But how much more crazier would it be if the bank was just giving anybody $150,000? And so this is why it is good. You have a greater chance of success if you start out going PG. If you start out going PG, you have a greater chance at getting approved. But again, if you're somebody that's been in business for a while, then non-PG is good. So, well, Jerron, how do I, give me an example of this non-PG thing that you talk about. I'll give you guys a perfect example. So I started out, and I'll go purple because I went through Ally. I started out, and I was actually able to purchase one of my vehicles under my business name through Ally. I purchased a TLX, an Acura TLX, and that loan was $50,000. Well, Ally gave me a $50,000 loan for my TLX, not utilizing my social security number. They only used my EIN. Well, Jerron, wow, that sounds incredible, man. How did you get the opportunity to do that? Well, I already had roughly 12 business trade lines on my credit report, on my business credit report. Well, Jerron, what's a business trade line? A business trade line is the same as a personal trade line. It's you having an account or relationship with another institution, a lending institution, a bank or whatever, and you have an agreement with them. Okay, a trade line could be a credit card, it could be a line of credit, it could be a loan, it could be a home, it could be a house, it could be a car, it could be whatever. But they saw that on my business, I already had established trade lines with banks throughout the country. And so they said, hey, this profile is strong enough to go out and finance and hold itself. This profile is strong enough for us to give the entity in and of itself $50,000. We don't have to ask for his social because his business is so strong that we'll give him this loan. Okay. Same thing will happen. You'll even get that, when you start talking about bigger entities that are doing, man, large droves of revenue, right? You can go out and get quote unquote non-PG funding. All right. And so those are the differences between the two. If I go PG, then I'm now in a situation where I have to put my social up. If I go non-PG, then I don't have to put my social up. But one of the things that I've realized on my journey is that at the end of the day, the money is the money. Right? It doesn't really okay, yeah, you got it from your business. Yeah, you got it from your personal. You got it from a line of credit. It really doesn't matter. The money is the money. All right. If you got $100,000 loan on the business side or the personal side, does that change the way you deploy the capital? Absolutely not. It doesn't change the way you deploy the capital, right? The $100,000, if it came from Paul, Peter, Sam, Christian, or Jessica, it's still the same money. And so I try to dismantle this whole concept that the only way I can go in is if I get it on the business. It does not matter. What matters is you have access to the capital to go out and deploy the capital and make the capital grow.